Most fans think a World Cup group game is decided by the starting 11. It is not. Sometimes it is decided by the player who does not start. And against Jordan, Lionel Messi changed the meaning of Argentina's entire tournament in only 30 minutes. That sounds dramatic. But tournament football is dramatic because it turns small decisions into large consequences. A substitution becomes a message. A free kick becomes a record. A comfortable group stage win becomes a warning to everyone else in the bracket. Argentina beat Jordan 3-1 in Dallas to complete a perfect group stage. 3 matches, 3 wins. Top of Group J. 9 points. A place in the round of 32 against Cape Verde. On paper, that is the clean version of the story. Argentina did the job. The defending champions moved on. The group was finished. But football is rarely interested in clean versions. Because this match had a second story underneath the score line. Argentina started without Messi. Lionel Scaloni rotated heavily. The world champion still controlled the game. Then Jordan scored. Then the stadium changed. Then Messi came on. And then, with one low free kick through the wall, the whole tournament suddenly felt different. The important thing is not just that Messi scored. Messi has been scoring World Cup goals for longer than some current internationals have been old enough to grow a proper playoff beard. The important thing is what his goal revealed. It revealed Argentina's depth. It revealed their dependency. It revealed the emotional gravity Messi still carries. And it revealed the uncomfortable truth about defending a World Cup. Winning once makes you champions. Trying to win again turns you into a target. Argentina came into this final Group J match in a position every coach wants and secretly fears. They were already safe. They had already done the hard work. They had already beaten the pressure of the opening matches. That gave Scaloni permission to rotate. But rotation is never just rotation at a World Cup. It is a test of the squad. It is a test of rhythm. It is a test of whether the team is a real tournament machine or just a brilliant first 11 protected by one genius. Scaloni made major changes and kept the spine stable enough to avoid chaos. Emiliano Martinez remained in goal. Lautaro Martinez led the line. Experienced pieces like Nicolas Otamendi, Leandro Paredes, Giovanni Lo Celso, Nicolas Tagliafico, and Nahuel Molina gave the side enough memory of its old habits. You can rotate names. You cannot rotate identity. And for the first half, Argentina looked like a team with an identity. They had the ball, they had control, they had the tempo. Jordan defended in a compact shape, but the rhythm of the game belonged to Argentina's midfield. That matters because dominance without Messi is different from dominance with Messi. With Messi, Argentina often has a gravitational center. The ball finds him. The defenders tilt toward him. The match begins to orbit around one left foot. Without Messi, the team has to distribute responsibility. Lo Celso has to take more initiative. Paredes has to control the passing speed. Alvarez has to run beyond. Lautaro has to attack the box. The fullbacks have to provide width without waiting for Messi to choose the perfect angle. That is the first reason the 30 minutes changed everything. Before Messi entered, Argentina proved they were not helpless without him. Lo Celso's opening goal mattered for that reason. It was not just a free kick. It was not just 1-0. It was a message from the second layer of the squad. Argentina can still create a moment when Messi is sitting down. The supporting cast can still step forward. In tournament football, that is gold. Because no champion survives a 7-game campaign on one script. In 2022, Argentina survived panic, penalties, tactical changes, emotional storms, and the most intense final of the modern era. They won because Messi was Messi. But they also won because the structure around him did not collapse when the game became ugly. That is the great secret of Argentina under Scaloni. They are romantic on the surface and practical underneath. The shirt is emotional. The crowd is emotional. Messi is emotional because he carries a national football story that stretches from Maradona to every child in Rosario with a ball at their feet. But the football is not sentimental. It is organized. It is compact. It protects zones. It knows when to suffer. It knows when to slow a game down until the opponent begins arguing with the clock. Against Jordan, Argentina showed that practical side again. Lo Celso scored. Lautaro Martinez converted from the penalty spot. Argentina had a 2-0 lead. The match looked controlled. The group looked complete. Then Jordan did something important. They made the game honest. At 2-0, many group stage matches become paperwork. The favorite passes. The underdog chases. The crowd waits for the knockout bracket. But Jordan's goal changed the temperature. Hassan Haddad's work on the flank and Musa Al-Tamari's finish gave Jordan more than a consolation. It gave the match a pulse. It also gave Argentina a reminder. At the World Cup, comfort is usually temporary. This is where the match becomes more revealing than the scoreline. Argentina had been dominant, but when Jordan pulled it back to 2-1, the question changed. It was no longer just whether Argentina could rotate and win. It was whether Argentina could control the emotional swing of a match without immediately needing Messi. And that is the contradiction at the heart of this team. Argentina are strong enough to play without Messi, but Messi is still powerful enough to change the emotional weather the moment he stands up. That is not normal. At 39, most footballers are discussed in terms of limitation. Minutes, recovery, protection, game management. The body becomes a negotiation. The calendar becomes an opponent. Every sprint feels like a question asked by time. Messi, somehow, is still discussed in terms of consequence. If he plays, what opens? If he rests, what changes? If he enters, who panics? If he takes one free kick, what piece of history moves? When he came on around the hour mark, the match became less about Jordan and more about gravity. The crowd reaction told you everything. Some substitutions are tactical. Some are emotional events. Messi entering a World Cup match in the United States is not just a substitution. It is a stadium noticing that the story has arrived. That matters for Argentina because emotion can be energy or it can be a trap. The roar around Messi can lift the team. It can also create dependency. Every time he warms up, every camera turns. Every time he touches the ball, the crowd expects something. Every time he does not start, the match feels like it is waiting for him. This is the famous problem of Messi dependence. But in 2026, it has become more complicated. Old Messi dependence meant Argentina needed Messi to rescue poor structures. Modern Messi dependence means Argentina are already good, but Messi can still turn good into frightening. That is a different problem. And for opponents, it is worse. Because if Argentina could only win through Messi, the plan would be obvious. Crowd him, block passing lanes, kick the rhythm out of the match, force others to decide. But if Argentina can control matches without him and then bring him in fresh for the final half hour, the opponent faces a different kind of nightmare. They defend the system first, then they defend the legend. Good luck with that. Jordan had already spent an hour chasing Argentina's circulation. They had already dealt with Lo Celso between lines, Lautaro attacking the box, Alvarez stretching the defense, and Paredes setting the tempo. Then Messi arrived with fresh legs and old tricks. That is not a substitution. That is a tax. And the tax arrived in the 80th minute. The free kick was classic Messi and not classic Messi at the same time. Everyone expects the floating left-footed shot over the wall. The familiar arc, the slow bend, the goalkeeper's hopeless lean. Instead, he went low, through the wall, under the expectation, into the corner. That is why it felt so sharp. It was not just skill. It was deception. It was memory used against the opponent. When a player has spent 20 years teaching defenders what to fear, he can punish them by doing the opposite. This is the intelligence of late-career Messi. He no longer has to win every duel with acceleration. He wins by making defenders answer the wrong question. Will he shoot over the wall? Will he slip the pass? Will he delay? Will he go low? Will he make the goalkeeper move first? By the time the opponent chooses, the ball is already gone. That goal made it 3-1. It finished the match. It protected the perfect group stage. It gave Messi his 6th goal of the tournament. It also pushed him to 19 World Cup goals, a number that would have sounded absurd when he first walked into the competition as a teenager. And here's the part most fans miss. Records do not only measure the past. In a World Cup, records can change the present. When Messi scores again, it affects the Golden Boot race. It affects how opponents prepare. It affects how Argentina carry themselves. It affects the emotional conversation around the team. It affects the pressure on every other contender. France, Brazil, Spain, England, Portugal, Germany, whoever believes they can win this tournament, they now have to look at Argentina and see a defending champion that has solved one of the hardest problems in football. How do you preserve an old genius without becoming a museum? Argentina's answer, at least in this group stage, has been brutally effective. Use the squad. Control the game. Let the system breathe. Then use Messi not as a permanent engine, but as a precision weapon. That's the framework of this match. Rotation creates energy. Energy protects structure. Structure keeps the game alive. Then Messi changes the ceiling. This is why the 30 minutes mattered more than the 90. The 90 told us Argentina are strong. The 30 told us Argentina might still have another gear. For Scaloni, that is both beautiful and dangerous. Beautiful because every coach wants the option to manage Messi's minutes and still win matches. Dangerous because the knockout stage does not care about your perfect plan. The round of 32 against Cape Verde is fascinating for exactly that reason. On paper, Argentina will be expected to advance. They are the defending champions. They have elite players in every line. They have tournament experience. They have Messi. Cape Verde, meanwhile, carry a different kind of power. They carry the power of a first World Cup knockout appearance. They carry the freedom of a team that has already made history. They carry the danger of opponents who know nobody expects them to own the ball for 90 minutes. Those matches can be awkward. The favorite has the weight. The underdog has the story. The favorite is judged by dominance. The underdog is rewarded for survival. Argentina have seen this movie before. Every great tournament team eventually faces a match where reputation does not score the first goal. The ball does not care how famous you are. The bracket does not care how many shirts you sell. The underdog does not care that your captain has a documentary catalog longer than some club histories. So the question for Argentina is not whether they are better than Cape Verde. They are. The question is how they manage the tournament from here. Do they keep Messi as a controlled weapon? Do they start him to settle the knockout match early? Do they protect his legs for the deeper rounds? Do they trust the rotation players again? Do they accept that every minute without Messi creates a public countdown until he appears? That is the real pressure. Not just football pressure, management pressure, narrative pressure, legacy pressure, because this is not a normal World Cup campaign. This is Argentina trying to do something football almost never allows. Defend the biggest trophy while carrying the final chapters of the greatest player of the modern era. That creates a strange double timeline. The team lives in the present. Pass the ball, defend the box, win the next match, recover the legs, study Cape Verde, move through the bracket. But the world watches in history mode. Is this Messi's last World Cup? How many more goals? How many more nights? How many more times can a stadium hold its breath before the left foot arrives? That is why one free kick against Jordan became bigger than a group stage goal. It fed the present and the past at the same time. For Jordan, the match still deserves respect. They were already facing one of the hardest tasks in the sport. Playing Argentina at a World Cup is difficult enough. Playing Argentina when the crowd is waiting for Messi is like defending two matches at once. Jordan still found a goal. They still created a moment. They still showed that debutantes can make champions uncomfortable. That matters, because the 48-team World Cup is built on exactly these moments. New teams enter. Old powers adjust. Matches become less predictable. The tournament expands the map, and the map starts pushing back. But for Argentina, the match became a warning disguised as a win. They conceded for the first time in the tournament. They saw how quickly control can become tension. They also saw how quickly Messi can remove that tension. That is both the blessing and the problem. If Messi solves everything, Argentina can win the World Cup. If Argentina asks Messi to solve everything, they might not. There is a difference. The best version of Argentina is not Messi carrying 10 players. That version is too old, too familiar, and too easy to romanticize. The best version is a serious champion, with enough midfield control, enough defensive discipline, enough attacking variety, and then Messi is the player who bends the decisive moments. Not every moment, the decisive ones. That is what happened in Dallas. For 60 minutes, Argentina showed the machine. For 30 minutes, Messi showed the magic still inside it. And the rest of the tournament should be slightly nervous about that combination. Because knockout football is not a league table. It is not about being better over months. It is about being better in moments. A red card, a penalty, a corner, a tired fullback, a goalkeeper's hesitation, a free kick on the edge of the box with 10 minutes left. Those moments decide World Cups. And Argentina still have the player who has spent his life turning moments into permanent football memory. That is the real meaning of Messi's 30 minutes. They did not just change one match. They changed the question around Argentina. Before Jordan, the question was simple. Can the defending champions keep winning? After Jordan, the question is sharper. Can Argentina win the World Cup by using Messi less and needing him more precisely? That is a terrifying idea, because it means Messi does not have to dominate every minute anymore. He only has to own the right one. And against Jordan, he owned it. One low free kick. One perfect group stage. One more record. One more reminder that time may be undefeated, but it has never enjoyed playing against Lionel Messi. Argentina now move toward Cape Verde with the bracket open in front of them and the pressure growing behind them. The group stage is over. The warm-up is finished. The tournament has stopped being about qualification and started being about survival. And that is where Messi's 30 minutes become even more dangerous. Because the goal against Jordan gave Argentina more than a win. It gave them a formula: control the match without him, protect the legs, trust the squad. Then, when the game starts asking for history, send on the player who still knows how to answer. But formulas are fragile in knockout football. Cape Verde will not arrive to admire Argentina. The next opponent will not care about the records. The bracket will not pause for nostalgia. And that is the next question. Was Dallas the proof that Argentina have finally learned how to manage the last version of Messi? Or was it the first sign that even now, when the World Cup begins to tighten, everything still bends toward him?